Did Buckingham Palace or Prince William set a trap for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and were they gullible enough to fall into it?
Again, I have to be careful what I say, but that I won't be able to show, my children my homeland.
You want drama? Buckle up, because this is the moment where Meghan Markle didn't just step onto a red carpet, she stepped into a storm, a spectacle that would ignite the internet, fuel gossip mills, and twist public perception into knots. Imagine the cameras flashing, the crowd murmuring, the glittering gowns shimmering under the lights, all the usual polished red carpet theatrics. But on March 19th, something about Meghan's entrance with her longtime friend Kelly McKee Zajfen felt off. Not the usual glitz, not the routine charm. Something subtle, something almost invisible, set off a chain reaction. At first glance, it seemed harmless. A smile, a hand extended, camaraderie on display. But the internet doesn't blink. It watches, it scrutinizes, it judges. And that day, it blinked once, then gasped. Or maybe it just paused, confused, before erupting into the relentless, unforgiving critique that defines modern celebrity life. What seemed like a mundane gesture spiraled instantly. The red carpet was no longer just a carpet. It was a battlefield where appearances could betray, where perception could become reality, and where every flicker of expression could explode into controversy. Meghan stayed close to Kelly, her hand resting repeatedly on Kelly's baby bump, smiles that on paper looked supportive, tender, even caring. But online? Oh, online, the narrative flipped faster than you could say public meltdown. Every pose, every lean, every repeated touch was analyzed, dissected, weaponized by a public waiting for a scandal. A gesture meant as warmth was suddenly performative. Genuine affection was labeled cringe. Natural closeness became a choreographed act. Every click, every frame, every angle was scrutinized.
I would have taken the Sussexes. So I get a call from Prince Harry on Easter Saturday, and he says, "Sorry to bother you, but..."
Meghan entered this world like it was a Hollywood set, assuming she could rewrite the script, center herself in every scene, and edit out anything that didn't fit her narrative.
Meghan just wants to be an Instagram influencer. That has always been her level, always been her drive.
Suddenly, it wasn't just a red carpet appearance, it was a statement, a calculated signal in a world where optics reigned supreme. And yet, this story wasn't one-sided. Supporters rose, fired back, insisting the backlash reflected not Meghan's behavior, but the audience's preconceptions. They reminded everyone that Meghan and Kelly had shared a bond for nearly 2 decades, long before headlines, cameras, or public narratives dictated their friendship. The closeness that some misread as awkward or staged was, in reality, deep familiarity, a connection that didn't require explanation, yet the world insisted on one. Kelly McKee Zajfen isn't a prop in Meghan's public theater. She's a friend who endured profound personal challenges, someone Meghan stood by, quietly, consistently, even when no cameras were present. That kind of loyalty doesn't vanish under media scrutiny. But here's the question that gnaws at every viewer. Were people reacting to a real moment or a version of it they expected to see? With Meghan Markle, there's no such thing as a small gesture. Every touch becomes a headline, every smile becomes strategic, every appearance filtered through years of narrative, rumor, and scrutiny. And in this ecosystem, even a simple display of friendship can explode into a complex narrative that feels larger than life. The moment Meghan leaned in, touched a bump, smiled in tandem with Kelly, it wasn't just a gesture. It was ammunition. It fed speculation, invited judgment, and sparked debates that would circle endlessly online. The fire didn't start with the red carpet photos alone. It was stoked by a digital landscape already primed to dissect, to question, to assume. Authenticity and performance often coexist, and Meghan's case is a textbook example. A moment can be real, deeply personal, yet appear staged under the relentless gaze of cameras. And audiences, they rarely allow for gray areas. A smile is either sincere or manipulative. A touch is either heartfelt or calculated. There is no in-between. As Meghan and Kelly laughed side by side as their gestures betrayed intimacy and years of trust, the world couldn't simply accept it. Instead, it spun a narrative, built a mystery, questioned motives, and dissected emotions. It was human complexity refracted through public obsession. But then, timing entered the equation. This wasn't an isolated appearance. It coincided with ongoing headlines about Meghan, Prince Harry, and Netflix, whisperings of tension, speculation about influence, control, and professional stakes. The optics of friendship now collided with a maelstrom of rumors, creating a charged atmosphere where every move seemed calculated, every moment ripe for interpretation. And And just when you think you've wrapped your head around it, Meghan Markle's red carpet moment exploded again. Not because of what she did, but because of what she didn't do. Eyes across the internet caught a small, subtle, yet incendiary detail. Her engagement ring was missing. Normally, who even notices a ring? People leave them at home, swap them for resizing, lose track of them. But not Meghan. In her world, absence is as loud as presence. And suddenly, speculation ignited. Was there trouble behind the scenes? Was it symbolic? Was it accidental? Or was it another carefully staged move in a narrative she alone controlled? The red carpet transformed from a showcase of friendship into a multi-layered spectacle. A chessboard where each gesture, each glance, each pause carried potential meaning. Critics pounced. Why is Meghan awkwardly grabbing her friend's belly? One post screamed, "It looks like she's forcing herself into the spotlight, ignoring boundaries and performing for cameras." The judgment was swift, the outrage viral. Some viewers saw desperation, overcompensation, even narcissism. They dissected smile muscles, posture, hand placement, the proximity of bodies, the tilt of heads, as if every tiny movement could unlock the truth behind her intentions. And yet, Kelly McKee Zajfen, the subject of this invasion, showed none of the discomfort critics assumed. Her relaxed smile, her easy posture, spoke of trust, history, and shared vulnerability, a silent, unspoken counterpoint to the chaos online. In a world primed for outrage, it's fascinating how genuine bonds are so often misread as manipulation. But the intrigue didn't stop there. Observers pointed out Meghan's facial expressions, the subtle decline of her smile muscles, the flicker of tension beneath public composure. Some claimed it screamed manic energy, a frantic attempt to perform authenticity while under the relentless gaze of cameras. Others whispered about cosmetic enhancements, the polished, wide-awake look suggesting fillers or Botox, fueling the narrative that every appearance is crafted, rehearsed, and calculated. In celebrity circles, such speculation spreads like wildfire. One look, one frame, one split-second gesture can dominate headlines. Every nuance is analyzed, every deviation magnified, and every micro-expression transformed into proof of a pre-existing belief. Meghan is either a master manipulator of her image or a woman caught in a digital microscope she can never escape. And then there's timing, the secret weapon that makes moments explode. Her appearance coincided with a wave of industry speculation, rumors of professional tension with Netflix, questions about influence and relevance, and whispers of a crumbling partnership. Suddenly, her gestures were no longer personal. They were strategic. Every lean, every smile, every touch of Kelly's baby bump became a public statement, a recalibration of narrative, a subtle reclaiming of control in a world ready to define her by scandal. The red carpet was no longer just fashion, it was PR warfare, emotional theater, and personal loyalty all intertwined in a single powerful tableau. And let's talk about the scale of the reactions. Social media erupted, comment sections filled with extreme takes. Some called her desperate, others praised her loyalty. Every observer interpreted the same images differently, and that's the genius or tragedy of perception. Once an audience decides a story exists, facts no longer matter. Intentions are irrelevant. The moment itself is rewritten, reframed, replayed. People debated her motives, her authenticity, her professionalism, her emotional state. Every detail from the missing ring to the $3,000 dress, yes, the dress, became a clue evidence of either extravagance, insecurity, or strategy. One viewer pointed out, why spend $3,000 on a dress just to hug a friend? This is about self-promotion, not support. And in the background, Ted Sarandos' Instagram unfollow quietly fanned the flames, the subtlest move amplified into proof of professional tension, proving that in Meghan's orbit, even silence speaks volumes. The deeper truth, though, lies beneath all this chaos. Kelly herself said it best. Meghan didn't perform for the cameras. She showed up. She was present. She was loyal. She offered support during times of grief, personal hardship, and human vulnerability. And yet, to the public, it all looked like performance. Authenticity became ambiguous. Friendship was conflated with spectacle. Real gestures became suspect under the relentless prying gaze of media, and viewers conditioned to see the world in binary: real or fake, sincere or manipulative, authentic or staged. This is the power and the danger of celebrity culture in 2026. A red carpet moment, a smile, a touch, a missing ring. Alone, they might be trivial. Together, they ignite a storm of speculation, gossip, and narrative warfare. The moment, once private and personal, becomes public property. studied, interpreted, dissected, weaponized, and the story never stops evolving. Every new appearance, every social post, every glance feeds the narrative further. Reality merges with perception. Intention becomes suspect. Loyalty becomes calculated. And the audience? They're left piecing together fragments, unsure of what's real and what's imagined, unable to resist connecting the dots, even when the dots may not belong together. So here's the lingering question, the one that refuses to settle. Were people reacting to Meghan Markle's gestures, or were they reacting to the version of her they already carried in their minds? Was it genuine friendship misread, or performance meticulously crafted for optics and narrative control? And in this game, does it even matter? Because by the time anyone answers, the storm has moved on, the headlines have shifted, and the world is already hungry for the next moment, the next spectacle, the next debate. Meghan stepped onto a red carpet, yes, but she stepped into an ecosystem where nothing is simple, nothing is private, and nothing is ever just what it seems. The gestures, the smiles, the missing ring, they all matter, and yet none of it belongs solely to her anymore. It belongs to the audience, to speculation, to perception itself. And that is the ultimate story. Messy, contradictory, explosive, and entirely human.